Workout from home number 22. It's a big deal in the gym today. Today is test day. If you've been following on for the last 5 weeks, this is week number 6 of our push-up cycle, which means, just like we did in week number 1, we tested. We now in week number 6, we test again. So we're going to talk about testing and strategies for testing, regardless of what level you've been working at in your push-ups. But before we get into all of that detail, let's talk about the warm-up today. As always, the warm-ups are meant to feature very minimal equipment, very small amount of space you need to get the job done, as we know everyone has a different situation at home. So with our warm-up today, shoulder dislocates can be done with a band, can be done with a PVC pipe, can be done with an old belt, 10 reps. From there, shoulder taps, looking at shoulder stability and anti-rotation, bracing the core. We're going to do 10 reps slow, 10 reps fast. And from there, a nice easy Hindu push-up for 5 reps today, getting the shoulders moving, making sure the shoulders feel happy before we get into our testy push-up work. 10 dislocates, 10 and 10 with the shoulder taps, 5 Hindu push-ups. We're doing that 3 times. Let's take a very quick look at how those movements should go. So when it comes to shoulder dislocates, I've probably mentioned it before a few times, as we do these a lot in the warm-up, is there different devices, different equipment are going to give you a different feeling when it comes to a shoulder dislocate. So for me, I like to do these kneeling on the floor, not because it really makes a huge difference, but really what the main thing I'm thinking about is people who are working out in their basements at home, maybe with not a huge amount of head clearance, kneeling down and doing these on the floor gives you a little bit more freedom. As I said, when it comes to equipment, bands, PVC pipe, broomstick, old belt, it doesn't really matter, but I find that the band is a little bit more forgiving, because obviously it stretches and moves around. It gives you a little bit more freedom if you've got some particular sticky points with the shoulder. I pass over, touching the band to the low back or the bum, and then coming back over to the front. So we're doing 10 reps per set. After I've done 2 or 3, if it's feeling pretty easy, I should be moving the hands closer together. And as always, even though it says dislocate, we don't actually want to dislocate our shoulders. We should be thinking mild stretchiness, 3 or 4 on the discomfort scale out of 10, 10 being the most discomfort, is what we should be looking for in our shoulder dislocates. From there into a shoulder tap. As always with the shoulder tap, what I'm trying to resist most of all is moving the hips around. So a little bit of a wider base with the feet. All I'm going to do is plant that hand, touch the hand to the shoulder, should be nice and smooth for 10. Once I've done 10 slow, we're doing 10 fast, but of course, I'm trying to make sure those hips don't wiggle around. With our last thing we're going to do is our Hindu push-up. With the easy Hindu push-up, we're going to start with a nice easy variation. Arm comes back to the heels. I extend the arms forwards, and I'm just going to pull the nose forwards like I'm doing a pull-up, transition over the wrists and push up. Dig the toes into the floor, hips up to the ceiling, trying to open the shoulders and the posterior chain, knees down, bum back. If we're feeling good, we get the nose a little bit closer, and that's what we're looking for in our Hindu push-up, a real test to see how the shoulders are feeling. So it's shoulder dislocates for 10, shoulder taps, 10 slow, 10 fast, 5 easy Hindu push-ups. We're doing that 3 times. So the strength piece today is an exciting day. It's testing day. Now, testing day is a strange thing because it elicits different emotions in different people in a different way. Maybe I'll say different one more time, different. The reason why I'm saying that, some people respond very well to the word testing day. They're like, this is great. I spent the last 5 weeks working really hard towards this thing, and now this is an opportunity for me to show how much I've improved. And I would say, having talked to a lot of people across the gym, pretty much everyone's improved in some way. But some people hear the word test day, and all of a sudden there's a lot of pressure, it's a pass or fail situation, is all lost. The thing to remember when it comes to testing days is just a reflection of how you feel right now. So that means if last night you split up with your boyfriend, your cat threw up in your shoes, bad things happened, maybe you're not feeling that so great coming into testing day. But if you slept well, you're feeling good, you're feeling rested, and everything's wonderful, then test day can be a brilliant day. So what I'm trying to say is, don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's not really a comparison thing, it's really about looking at how much you've improved. So that could be getting a little bit closer to the floor, which is a huge jump if we're trying to do our first push-up. Maybe it's getting a few more reps than we had a few weeks ago. Again, it's a big thing. And last but not least, can I do my first one-arm push-up? A huge achievement if I can make it. So the thing to remember, as always, is we're just trying to see how well you've improved. It's not a comparison piece, it's not a pass or fail. So let's talk about how the strength piece should go today. We're still going to follow the same format. We're going to go every 3 minutes for 5 sets, but the first set is our testing set with a few caveats. So in our first testing set, for example, if we're doing our scaled push-up, the first testing set could be, I'm just going to go for it, I'm just going to try my first push-up on the floor. But if that doesn't go well, we're going to talk in a second about how to approach the next few sets. So let's see what happens in just a second. If we're doing level 2, we're doing push-ups for 5 to 20 reps in every set. The first set, we're just going to do an all-out set. We're just going to see how many reps we can do in a row, and hopefully we beat that number that we started off with 5 weeks ago. So the first set, if you're level 2, is just an all-out tester set. Last but not least, level 3, very similar to level 1, we're going to try and do our first one-arm push-up. Maybe that goes fantastically, maybe it doesn't go as planned, and we're going to talk about a few different options. Because even if you don't get your first push-up, or you don't get your first one-arm push-up, it's all about, oh, okay, well maybe I didn't get that skill within 5 weeks, it's reasonable, but how do I still develop it in the future and going forwards? So let's talk very quickly about level 1, our scaled push-up options. So when it comes to scaled push-ups, it's, for a lot of people, we've just been working on getting closer and closer and closer to the floor. So that could mean that when you're at home, if you've been working out on the stairs in your house, some people have been in their basements, on the stairs leading to and from their basements, but maybe they started off with a high box, we still had that nice push-up position, and I started off in week number 1, testing out my push-ups. As the weeks went on, we've moved down now to a lower and lower and lower box, making sure that we still keep that nice tight plank position, and I'm just trying to see now, and it could be that one of our tests could be thinking, all right, well, I started off on step number 5 on my stairs, and I'm now at step number 2. It's a huge improvement towards the floor, so don't discount the fact that you haven't seen improvement if you're getting closer and closer to the floor. The last thing to remember is maybe now if I'm trying to go for my first push-up, is that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be as similar as it was when we're on step number 2, and I can maybe do 3 to 5 reps. It's going to be an incredibly intense and difficult effort. So if you're hoping it's just going to be one and boop, and I'm done, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be very, very challenging. So that means that when I'm getting ready to do my first push-up, everything should be engaged. It means hands should be gripping the floor, external rotation with the arms. I've got my feet in that nice tight plank. I'm squeezing the bum, I'm bracing the abs, everything is tight, and it's a control to the floor, and then we press back up. I'm trying to make sure that as I come down, nothing weird happens. I'm not leading with the hip. I'm not leading with the forehead. Keeping everything in a nice tight position. Just trying to make sure we keep everything as engaged as possible. As I mentioned at the board, you may find the first set goes fantastically. Happy days. You get your first push-up, tell all your friends, put it on Instagram, but you almost may find that that step from that, maybe that first step or that second step, is too big a jump. So from some people, what we've played around with is just getting a little bit closer to the floor. So here, of course, I'm in the gym, I've got a little stack of plates, it could be a little stack of books, whatever it is, and you can play around with getting comfortable with getting that chest closer to the floor, and if that goes well, we get rid of one, and we play around with it over the next few sets to see if we can get closer and closer to the floor. So again, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation when it comes to getting our first push-up. Acknowledge your achievements, even if you manage to go down a few steps, and play around with how you can get comfortable with now being on the floor. Okay, so you are testing level number 2. We're trying to see how many push-ups we can do in a row. So this set is an exciting, fun one. We already know we have a push-up. Now we're trying to see how long we can push that muscular endurance and try and see how many reps we can do in a row. So that means that maybe when we started this off, you could do 3 push-ups in a row. Maybe you could do 10. The idea now is this is for the big money, the big kahuna burger. Let's just go in for one big all-out set. But what that does mean is just because I'm going for an all-out set, doesn't mean reps should be getting progressively more shitty as we go on. It means that every rep should be a delicious, beautiful rep. And if we feel things starting to compensate and weird stuff starting to happen, then we should probably call it and say, we've got all these beautiful reps in a row, we don't want to count gross and horrible ones. So if I'm doing my push-ups, as always, hands should be about shoulder width. I'm going to externally rotate so the pit of that elbow points forwards. We're going to come into our plank position and I'm going to do my push-ups. I'm just going to go for one all-out set. If I find that as I start to get tired, compensation patterns start to happen. The big one is always hips stay down and I lever up. That's the big one. The other one is also I come down forehead first, elbows start to get wiggly and twisty. If you feel those things start to happen, then it's time to call it. Fingers crossed, we get way more push-ups than we had last time. So one arm push-up testing. This is for the big money now. But just like when we're looking at our first push-up scaling, our level 1 and level 3, we're both trying to get our first of something. My first push-up on the floor, my first one-arm push-up. And we know that that first one is a big deal and it's going to be very challenging. So don't discount the work you've done on the way. If you started off doing one-arm push-ups with one hand slightly out to the side, and then all the way out to the side, now to the fingers, now we're starting to move the hand down towards the hip, acknowledge the work you've done. When it comes to the one-arm push-up, it's very anecdotal. How do you feel? How does it feel about things? Do you feel like you're getting stronger? Do you feel like you're more stable? But there's no real metric to measure it. So it's up to you to acknowledge that progress. How I see my arm go out, I see it come down towards my hip. And now we're just going to see if we can do that one-arm push-up. Most important thing, don't ruin the money. Protect your beautiful faces, you will never find love again. I'm going to set my hand up directly below my shoulder. Feet are going to be a little bit wider. And then from here, if we can, we come down, shoulder over the hand, and then push back up. You might find it gets a little bit twisty, and that's okay. You might find things rock around a little bit, and that's perfectly fine if we're trying to do our first one-arm push-up. But again, that first one-arm push-up may also be slightly different as well. For you, it might be the first time you brought your hand down by your hip, or it might be coming down in that one-arm push-up, controlling down, and then seeing if we can take the hand away a little bit on the way up and play around with how that hand works for you. So it doesn't have to be a one-arm push-up, it could just be an acknowledgement of your improvement in one-arm pushing strength. Whatever it is, good luck. I hope everyone's testing goes wonderfully well. So we've done our testing, and regardless of how testing goes, whether it's just happening in that first set, or whether we may be spreading it over the first couple of sets, depending how things have gone, the idea is once our testing is done, we're then going to get back to some strict set and rep schemes as we normally would do on a normal strength piece. So that could mean for you when you're doing scale push-ups, 3 to 6 reps. If I'm doing level 2 regular push-ups, somewhere between 5 and 20, which is going to be tough after an all-out set. And of course, if we're still working on a one-arm push-up, it's going to be 2 reps per side. Once I've finished my work, we still have some corrective stuff to do for the shoulder. So I'm going to use this very light dumbbell, this 5-pound dumbbell, and do some Y raises. I like the Y raise. It's the exercise I learned from the late, great and majestic Charles Poliquin that helps develop the low traps, which is an invariably weak area for everyone in terms of postural position and shoulder health. So I decide to support my hand on something. I'm going to hinge forward like a bent over row or a Romanian deadlift. If you can see, I relax the shoulder and then pull the shoulder blade back, leading with the thumb. Thumb raises up into a Y, I then control down. Relax the shoulder, pull the shoulder blade back, raise up, slowly on the way down. Relax, retract, raise up. And we're going to do 10 reps per side. If you realize that one side is a lot stronger or weaker than the other, we should always do the weaker side first. And that is testing day and our strength piece today. Our conditioning piece today, very straightforward, simple format. We have 4 rounds where we are going through 4 stations, and we're spending 30 seconds working at each station and then a 15-second transition between each station. So I'm going to do a push press with my left arm, if it's my weakest side. Pick an arm that's weakest, and do that side first. 30 seconds of push presses on one arm, rest for 15 seconds. 30 seconds of push presses on the other arm, rest 15 seconds. We're going to do some shin grabber sit-ups for 30 seconds, rest 15 seconds, 30 seconds Superman hold, rest 15 seconds, and we start all over again. So we're doing these 4 exercises 4 times. So when it comes to the push press, pick whatever you have available. Do you have dumbbells? Do you have a kettlebell? Maybe you've got a barbell. Maybe we'll do both arms. Again, find what you have available to you and do some push presses with it. If you find the ceiling height is an issue today, you could do some kneeling strict presses, one arm and then onto the other side. If you can push press overhead, happy days. I'm going to use a kettlebell because I like kettlebells. I'm going to bring the kettlebell to the front rack. And for push pressing, what I'm going to do is use the legs to help get the weight off the shoulder. So that leg drive should account for pretty much about eyebrow height before I then have to start engaging the arm fully. Dip, drive overhead, control back down to the shoulder. Dip and drive overhead, we control back down to the shoulder. So I'm going to do 30 seconds on one arm, rest 15 seconds, 30 seconds on the other arm, rest 15 seconds before coming into shin grabbers. With the shin grabber sit-up, quite straightforward. I start with the heels on the floor, hands on the floor, and the idea is I'm going to sit up explosively. I'm going to try and bring my heels into my bum as I grab my shins. The idea here is to have the feet flat, grab the shins, pull them in, but I do want to make sure the feet are flat on the floor. It should be done relatively fast and explosively. Once I've done 30 seconds of shin grabbers, very simple Superman hold, I'm going to lay down on my front, very much like the YTWI and very much like the Y raise. When I lift my arms up, it shouldn't be for nothing. I'm going to have my arms in a Y. I'm going to raise the thumbs up first, hold them up, then bring the feet up, squeeze my bum, engage the low back, lift the arms high, and we're going to hold there for 30 seconds. So it's 30 seconds push press on one arm, 15 second rest. 30 seconds on the other arm, 15 seconds rest. 30 seconds of shin grabbers, 15 seconds rest. 30 seconds Superman hold, 15 seconds rest. We're doing that 4 times.